Minnesota missing 33 players on Saturday. Obviously had the right ones on the field against Nebraska. Jump out to a 10-0 lead. Hold on 24-17. We got Greg Peterson on the line from Husker Online. Want to remind everyone out there that loves college football, Nebraska in particular, that we come your way live every Thursday night right here at 6 o'clock Eastern and 5 o'clock Central. So bring your comments, your questions, jump in the live chat. And again, it's Nebraska Live Thursday at 6 Eastern, 5 Central. 24-17 final here, Greg. Your initial thoughts?
Well, like probably every Husker fan around the country, a very frustrating loss. But first off, hats off to Minnesota. Like you mentioned, 33 players missing with the COVID virus, missing their best offensive player who opted out, and playing most of the game without their other best offensive player. So, Minnesota came to play, and they did a heck of a job. But on the other side, on the Husker side of the ball, mistakes, penalties, turnovers, the team's just not good enough to overcome anything like that. And, it's an emotional time for everybody. And, my final thoughts that I'll take away from this game is seeing a senior like JoJo Doman come out of the locker room after taking his pads off and taking a knee out on the end on the 50-yard line and kind of looking up to the sky, saying goodbye to Memorial Stadium. So, not the way that you want to go out. And there's another game left over, but you're not going to go to a bowl game now, obviously. And, for this senior class, it's a hard one to swallow. They've had a lot of ups and downs in their careers here, and you wish them the best, and you hope that Nebraska can start rolling in the right direction and get this thing fixed. And I think it starts at the top, and you got to work your way down. It was so frustrating just to watch the offense play in the second half. You start off the game and you spot Minnesota 10 points, and you all of a sudden you bust off a 47-yard run right up the gut with Wan'Dale Robinson, and hey, you're looking like $1 million. And then you don't go back to that run. Dedrick Mills runs the ball hard a few times, some nice tough yards. But then you go away from this running game, and Minnesota's had all kinds of trouble stopping people running the ball inside the tackles. And you saw Nebraska have success with that and then just go away from it. It's hard to understand why, what's the thinking behind that. You're trying to throw the ball against a team that can't stop the run. It just makes no sense. And, it was nice to see that Nebraska tried to take a couple of shots downfield, but obviously Adrian Martinez lost a little bit of something. He just wasn't very accurate today. He was missing open receivers. He was overthrowing receivers. He got a little bit dinged up with his throwing hand, it looked like. And Luke McCaffrey had to come in, and he made a poor pass that ricocheted off of the receiver's hand, and it was an interception that Minnesota scored off of. And there's just too many mistakes. You shank a punt, 8-yard punt, and they capitalize on that as well. You get Cam Taylor-Britt gets called for targeting, and he misses the whole second half. And it's just one thing after another that you miss a field goal that you should be making, and it's just one thing after another. So it just was so frustrating for anybody that follows this team, and you just don't know where they go from here.
Yes, you mentioned Adrian Martinez was mostly high on his missed throws, and then there was one shot that they had where the tight end got behind the defense. This was with maybe 25, 30 seconds left in the first half. And it looked on TV like an easy throw, but if you really think about it, it wasn't an easy throw. He had to kind of drop it in there to a certain extent, but the tight end was wide open. Like he just busted it and probably would have scored on the play, and that would have obviously been a huge conversion right there.
He had another long one to Wan'Dale Robinson that, it's kind of hard to overthrow a guy like Wan'Dale Robinson, but he did, and that would have been 6 too. So yeah, it's just frustrating to see this happen.
To your point there, Greg, they ran for 5.5 yards per carry. So that was a lot of Adrian Martinez, but Dedrick Mills also with 12 carries. But maybe could have gone back to that more often, because they got down by 1-2, kept going back 1-2 scores, but not out of reach.
Yeah, I just don't understand why all of a sudden, you try to throw the ball on first down, and then you put yourself in a hole. You get to 3rd and long doing that. Why not just run the ball up the middle, 2-3 yards at a pop, and then you have, a 3rd and 3 instead of a 3rd and 10, a 3rd and 12. So, yeah, I think everybody is scratching their head. Everybody's seeing the same thing. And just the play calling, I just don't understand what they're doing. You see something's working, and then you just go away from it. It's I don't know, and I don't know if that's Coach Frost. I don't know if somebody asked him in the postgame press conference if Dedrick Mills is healthy enough to carry the ball 20 plus times, and he said yes. So why don't you give it to him 20 plus times? I don't get it.
They had a sequence, and I'm not going to be critical of this because I think it was the decision that had to be made, but it kind of backfired. Down 24-14, they drive it down the field. They get stopped on 3rd down. They kick the field goal on 4th down. Minnesota's offside, so they take the ball back. And I think it's still the right play to make because you got the opportunity in the red zone, deep in the red zone, to score the touchdown. But they just took so much time off the clock. They shoot up another 90 seconds to 2 minutes, only to have a 3 and out in the red zone, pick the field goal anyway.
Well, they scored
runs out the clock.
Yeah, they scored a touchdown that got called back, though.
Yeah.
So yeah, you took the 3 points off the board, and then a penalty takes the 6 points off the board, and then you wind up with 3 points in the end of it. And yeah, you took off 3 minutes off the clock, the 3 minutes that you could have used. So yeah, I just don't get it.
I'm going to mention some players that most likely a few might be coming back, but mostly have finished their careers at Nebraska. And you know so much more about this, me watching my 7, 8, 9 games a year, but still just watching the games. But you mentioned who did you mention off the top?
JoJo
Domann, who had a tremendous pass breakup
on
a deep ball where he had to cover a wide receiver as a linebacker and made a great pass breakup on that play. But I was going to get to basically the theme that you brought up about, it's tough to watch these guys that lay it all on the line, give their best, not go out the way they would like, and then they know it's their last home game. And it just seems like they've got a lot of those guys on defense, in particular, Dismuke and Honus and Domann and Stilley. And again, I don't know if they're all going to be gone, but a lot of those guys at Reimers who have been around the program for a long time.
Yeah, and there was a quote from JoJo I wanted to read. You guys have decisions to make, and they've got they got to do with what's best for your future. But for all intents and purposes, this was our last game at Memorial Stadium, and it's sad. And it says it stinks. So, yeah, a lot of those guys probably. There's a lot of those guys that have already been here 5 years, and you can't expect them to put their futures on hold. You got to do what's best for you, and I know there's certain guys. Maybe some of these guys are just kind of on the edge, maybe like a Ben Stilley who is from here. This is his home; it's all he knows. A guy like him, he might stick around. But a guy like JoJo Domann, I expect him to get opportunities to play on Sundays, and you can't expect him to pass that up. But, other guys, there's offensive lineman, Brendan Hymas. He started his 40th game as a Husker, and that's one shy of the record behind Jeremiah Searles, who played in the NFL. So a guy like that, he's going to get drafted. Matt Farniok, he's been around forever. Bo Wilson, Dedrick Mills is a senior. He's got a lot of miles on him going back to his Georgia Tech days, and he carried the ball a lot in junior college. Who knows where his body is? So yeah, there's just so many guys that you wish they would come back and be a part of this to see, this thing turn around and everything, but you just don't know until it's time for them to make their decisions.
So we've got a Nebraska live show every Thursday night at 6 o'clock Eastern and 5 o'clock Central with Greg. So join Greg as well. Greg Peterson here, Husker Online on Rivals. Nebraska loses to Minnesota 24-17. We've only got one more Big Ten game in play, Wisconsin, Iowa. So I don't know how it lines up. Of course, we're going to have to figure out who's healthy. Of course, that's always up in the air here in 2020. But in regards to this matchup against the East Division next week, has that been determined? I haven't done the math to look at the standings.
Yeah, I saw earlier in the morning they flashed up the standings there, and it looks like Nebraska would either match up with either a Rutgers or a Maryland, as far as I can tell. So yeah, that looks like that's what it would be, and I don't know where that game would be played. So who knows?
Yeah. Should be interesting. Another week of Big Ten football at least, and we'll see what the Huskers bring us next week. Greg, appreciate, as always, you stopping by to get the post-game analysis for us.
Yeah, no problem. And like I said, that we don't know where that game would be played. It would be nice to get one more game in Memorial Stadium because we just saw the first one today ever in the month of December since the stadium opened back in 1923 or something like that. So hopefully there's one more.